Good afternoon, friends. A Glimmer of Glory, the last portion of chapter 7 of Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of God in the Word of God by Dr. Scott Hahn. What do theologians mean, though, when they refer to Mary as an archetype? Put simply, it means that she is a type's ultimate fulfillment. See Catechism, Numbers 967 to 972. As we've seen throughout the book, the Old Testament types foreshadowed New Testament realities. But the New Testament realities, in turn, foreshadowed heavenly glories. That's why the book of Revelation is such an important book and the capstone of the Bible. It deals with the ultimate fulfillment of all earthly types. It shows the glory toward which God is drawing all history and all creation. Mary is a central figure in the Apocalypse because, assumed into heaven where she reigns, Mary is now the fulfillment of the reality of which the Church itself is merely a type. She is the Virgin and Mother, the bride of Christ, the heavenly Jerusalem, the metropolis that is the city of God. She is the heavenly archetype. The Church, the rest of us, must struggle toward those mystical realities during all our days on this earth. Thus says the Council, quote, "While in the Most Holy Virgin the Church has already reached that perfection whereby she is without spot or wrinkle, the followers of Christ still strive to increase in holiness by conquering sin. And so they turn their eyes to Mary, who shines forth to the whole community of the elect as the model of virtues. Seeking after the glory of Christ, the Church becomes more like her exalted type and continually progresses in faith, hope, and charity, seeking and doing the will of God in all things." From Lumen Gentium 65, unquote. Our struggle is individual, but it is communal too. As members of God's family, we are concerned for one another and concerned to bring many others into the family. Vatican Council II holds Mary up again as a model of the apostolate, the model of our Christian outreach. Indeed, our efforts at evangelization must have a Marian component. Evangelization should begin with Marian prayer, and it should be suffused with Marian doctrine and devotion. For evangelization is all about building up a family, and no one can belong to a family without honoring the family's mother. Moreover, as the Second Vatican Council pointed out, Mary plays an indispensable role in each of her children's growth in holiness. Yet, how many people, even among those who are brothers of Christ, do not know they are children of Mary? Subtitle, Bad for Ecumenism. All of this brings us to the vexed question of whether Catholic doctrine on Mary is an impediment to Christian unity. Some people, even some Catholic theologians, say that we should downplay our Marian beliefs in the interest of drawing closer to Protestant churches that reject those beliefs. To do so, however, would be counterproductive. Theology is a true science. Its subject matter consists of divinely revealed mysteries. Down through the centuries, many of the doctrinal seeds that were planted by Christ and the apostles have blossomed into dogmas as defined by the Church's magisterium. In this manner, theology has developed over time, as other sciences do. Scientists formulate and test various theories, some of which are proven with enough certitude to be renamed laws, for instance. Or, for instance, Newton's law of gravity. Others are discarded as unworkable hypotheses. Thus, laws become the markers of scientific progress. Similarly, the definition of dogma serves as the mark of theological progress. Dogma is the perfection of doctrine, and doctrine is nothing other than the Church's teaching and preaching the gospel truth, as Jesus commissioned and empowered her to do. When the Pope chooses to define a Marian dogma, he does much more than teach the world a valuable lesson in theology. He uses his God-given charism to fulfill his apostolic mission to preach the gospel to all nations. See Matthew 28, verses 18 to 20. Throughout the history of the Church, the definition of dogmas has stimulated the apostolic and theological energies of some of her best minds, especially when a definition became the occasion of controversy. In the 1940s, many Protestants, including the late Max Thurian of Taizé, France, objected strenuously after hearing rumors that Pope Pius XII was about to define the dogma of Mary's Assumption. Where is that in the Bible, they asked, as they made dire predictions about the death of Catholic ecumenism. Yet, the definition of the Assumption coincided with the dawn of a golden age of Catholic ecumenism. Now, almost 50 years later, the Catholic Church can be described as the engine of the ecumenical movement when many of the institutions of the old guard have lost their steam. And incidentally, Max Thurian died a Catholic priest on the Feast of the Assumption in 1996. Authentic ecumenical progress is not simply the result of our own human energies. Even more, it is not caused by compromise on either side. Here it is not a question of altering the deposit of faith, wrote Pope John Paul II, changing the meaning of dogmas, eliminating essential words from them, accommodating truth to the preferences of a particular age. The unity willed by God can be attained only by the adherence of all to the content of revealed faith in its entirety. From Ut Unum Sint 18. Ecumenical unity thus requires a special grace and the Word of God, who acts for the sake of his family. Accordingly, we should not expect him to work apart from, but through the mother he gave, to serve as the symbol and source, the archetype of family unity. And in the end, subtitle, whatever our disagreements, these are family matters more than political issues. We all should resist the temptation to reduce such matters to ecclesiastical politics or apologetic debates, or to respond to our honest differences by impugning motives. How wrong-headed it is to strive after Mary's honor in a way that would dishonor her. While I am not naive in matters ecumenical, I am hopeful, but only because of the Father's desire to pour out his supernatural power to unite all of his children around his Son and our common mother. From Redemptoris Mater 25. This, after all, is what we learn from the typology of the Bible, illuminated by the Church's dogma. The eternal reality that has been prophesied, the communion toward which human history has been moving as its dramatic conclusion, is the cosmic, corporate, human expression of what God did in Mary, making her bride, making her mother, making her the archetype of a church that must include us all. Happy Mother's Day. Good afternoon. Thank you.